In a readout from the Kremlin, translated by NBC, Vladimir Putin had some praise for the Trump administration, saying they are making, quote, energetic and sincere efforts to stop the fighting. Here now with reaction, Fox News contributors Miranda Devine, Katie Pavlich. Miranda, I start with you. I'll put up on the screen, 7 months, 7 peace deals. If he gets this done, that'll be 8 months, 8 peace deals, and they're all big. I mean, Israel, Iran, India, Pakistan, Azerbaijan, Armenia, I can go on and on. We'll put it up on the screen. But the point is, most politicians, and this makes, I think, Trump unique, and you spent a lot of time with him as I have, what makes him unique is he will expend the political capital, he will take the risk. The United States has probably the least to gain from all of this, except for being, the leader of the free world and ending the killing. And he's putting it all on the line, and other leaders would be huddled with their advisors. Should we? Shouldn't we? What if it doesn't work out? That's not him. Very big difference.
It really is. And I think the biggest difference with Donald Trump is that he, unlike other world leaders, has in his mind foremost and in his heart the death. It really pains him. He talks about the humanity. And in 1 month, Russia lost 60,000 people. And so it's big stakes for Russia, and it's big stakes for Ukraine that is fighting for its life, for its very existence. This is Joe Biden's war. But unfortunately, it's fallen, or maybe fortunately, it's fallen on Donald Trump to try to end. And if anyone can do it, it's him. But I think people should really not have sort of Pollyanna hopes, because neither side is going to be happy with whatever compromise happens. I mean, that's the way with all war. But to end this war, each side will have to compromise, and it's up to Trump, the great deal maker, to force them to the table. And that's what he's trying to do. And I have no doubt that when he says that he will look at Vladimir Putin, look him in the eyes and decide within 2 minutes whether he's on the level, and he will walk away. But I think he's also bringing to the table a lot of gifts for Russia for their future economic development. And so let's see if Putin is smart enough to take that present that Donald Trump, that gift that Donald Trump brings.
Well, his economy's not doing well. And look, I would argue there's a 25% chance that we revisit Reykjavik with Reagan and Gorbachev, and Reagan walked away from Reykjavik, and eventually, over time, it did pay dividends. Now, I'd say maybe the odds are 25% that happens, Katie Pavlich, maybe 30%. I don't know. Any deal, I think Miranda's right. It would include a land swap and probably security guarantees that the Ukrainians would want. There are 3 reasons that I see, Katie Pavlich, why President Putin is even coming here. 1, I think the 50% tariff on India if they buy Russian oil. Yep. 2, the trade deal that the president made with the EU, where nearly $1 trillion in monies that would have gone to buy Russian oil will buy American energy. And number 3, I would argue that the president said, all right, Vladimir, you don't want to play ball. I'm going to arm the Ukrainians. They will buy our weapons. We will sell them what they want. Unlike Joe Biden, they gave it to him. I think those 3 factors made a big difference. Thoughts?
And number 4, he went to NATO, and NATO is now going to pay 5%, all the countries in NATO, which put Russia on its hind feet for sure, and paying attention to that. I find it fascinating that President Trump has been able to get Vladimir Putin to the table in Alaska, a place that, of course, has historical significance with Russia. Russia sold Alaska to the United States in the 1800s after they paid for, when they needed to pay for the Crimea War, which is something that they lost. But the president has been able to get to this point by putting America first and getting benefits for America. It's beneficial to the United States that we have this new EU trade deal with the $750 billion of energy coming to the U.S., not going to Russia. It's beneficial for India to take a second look at the way they're doing their energy policy. It's beneficial for NATO to be paying 5% because finally, as the president has talked about for years, the Europeans are picking up more of the slack on their own continent against the Russian threat. So this is something the president has been doing since he came back in office. There's a reason why Joe Biden is the one that Putin decided to invade Ukraine under. But it's fascinating to watch him get a number of wins for America while squeezing Putin's economy and getting him to the table tomorrow. We'll see what happens. As he said today, it's the most complicated war that he's had to deal with. He thought it would be the easiest, but the world is watching, and certainly he's racked up peace deals in the last couple of months. We'll see if he can get another one.
And the president said if Putin doesn't come to a deal, if they don't get to phase 2, which would be the result of tomorrow, then Putin will pay a big price. Obviously, that would be an economic price. Katie, thank you. Yeah. Miranda, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.